Uncensored, no holds barred talk. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is the Global Reality Radio Network.
Live edition of the Global Reality right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Another late night Moonbat edition of the broadcast for you here. Thursday, June the 7th, 2012 into June 8th, 2012. That's where the 8 was coming in there. And we're glad you could be with us here tonight for another live edition of the show. We're going to be getting into a variety of news stories for you here tonight, as we usually do. And we will also be getting back into our series of reading that we've started over the past few weeks, and we've been going through quite a few chapters and getting into some of these different archaeological anomalies here in the United States, and certainly very much ties in with what I'm working on right now with the new film and stuff. So it's definitely been an enjoyable read there. My website where this broadcast originates from is theglobalreality.com. That's theglobalreality.com. Everything up there pertaining to my work, you'll find the link to listen to the stream. It runs 24 hours a day, plays archive shows. Generally, you'll hear during the week, it's mostly just the shows of the week repeating. And the weekends, it's a variety of stuff. We'll have, marathons of the shows of the week, older shows. We'll play some, stuff from Red Eye sometimes. Well, Memorial Day weekend, we had Bill Cooper Mystery Babylon Marathon. We do that like every year. There's a variety of stuff there that you can listen to, just not when it's, not only when it's live, but also anytime. So, and occasionally I do, I haven't done one in a while because I've been busy working on this film and stuff, but occasionally on Sunday nights I also do a music show called the Sunday Night Music Review Show, and I play, I just play stuff I like, That's basically it. Play local stuff from around Dallas sometimes, and but there might be one of those again at some point, but just right now I'm just busy working on still absorbing all this information and putting it all together and trying to piece it together into a workable format. Just trying to, basically just trying to do all the things, all the things you can do without a budget, but I'm running out. That list keeps getting smaller and smaller, because I'm always, if I don't have a budget, then what do I got to do? Well, I got to work on the things I can work on. You know what I mean? That's what I try to do. But we just kind of reach that point where I've already done it. Like I said, I've got it over an hour of the film cut. And very little of that is even my own footage. Most of that is just clips and stuff like that. We're going to a lot of different clips in there. But also my website you could find, and maybe I think I need to talk to Matt Hydrum, our webmaster, who does a great job keeping everything updated for us at the site. I've gotten several emails recently and in the past, and I guess I need to make this clear because we really don't sell hardly any DVDs at all, and we have a lot of problems with people not getting stuff sometimes, things of that nature, please always send me an email, globalrealityshow@gmail.com if you haven't received stuff. I know there's people who've contacted me in the past week who haven't gotten stuff. Please be patient with me. I've had a rough last week. And so if you've contacted me in the past 2 weeks, I am aware that you still haven't gotten your discs and they're on their way. It's just been a rough, fucking past week for me, man. Been on the edge of, total, complete, and utter dissolution and bankruptcy and everything else here. Well, I didn't file for bankruptcy, but you know what I mean. Not having anybody is essentially bankrupt. When you have $20 in your name like I do now, it's essentially, But I think people have had a problem finding the DVDs. I don't think it's very crystal clear on how you buy those. Because if you go under my documentaries tab at theglobalreality.com, you'll see the Secret Right series there. And if you want to purchase Volume 2, there's a link that says Purchase Full Movie. But if you want to purchase Volume 1, then you need to click on the link that says Secret Right Volume 1 under Documentaries. And when that page comes up, you can scroll down to the bottom there underneath where the video is posted for free. Most people probably stop right there. They're like, oh, why the fuck am I going to give this guy $25 when it's fucking the whole thing's for free right here? Probably why we never sell any. But, you just scroll down underneath there, and then you can buy it. Secret Right Volume 1 is there. Volume 2 is there. And then if you want to get 9/11 New World Rising, my first film, came out in 2007. Click on that, and then there's a buy now button there for those as well. And Secret Right 2 also has its own separate tab, because there's a lot of different options for things you can buy there. Blu-ray packs and DVD packs and combos and all that stuff. So that's all up there. It's also video clips from the show that are on YouTube that are posted up there on the website regularly. Archives of past shows. Audio books condensed down from readings that we've done here on air up there. So there you go. Also the chat room. Feel free to join us in the Global Reality Dungeon, the chat room, theglobalreality.com, and chat it up. There you go. That's what it's there for. Love getting emails from everybody out there in the listening audience. Anytime you want to send anything in, if you want to have if you have a question for me, something you want to read on air, anything else, globalrealityshow@gmail.com. That's globalrealityshow@gmail.com. We do have a few emails here tonight. I'd love to have them live as well. If you got something you want to ask me, if you got a question, got something, tidbit of info or want to get my take on, that's how we do it here. Email. Don't have phones. I don't like phones. God, I'm so glad I don't have to fucking go to the phones. I love that. It takes so much stress off my day. These clowns that call in and want to fucking hijack your show. They go off on these tangents and won't let you talk, and 30 minutes later they're still talking. You're like, dude, come on. That's how the septic got his start. He got his start calling in, hijacking my show. We do have some emails here tonight. This first one here tonight is from Matt. Some of these got sent last night, I think, during the show or after the show, so didn't get a chance to get them to tonight. Matt says, Josh, I myself am getting into the business of information products and think you could create some to help the global reality. Oh, awesome. Having listened to your show for a while now, I'm assuming that if you just gather your thoughts in a PDF, you could create a global reality movie guide. The goal of any product creation is effective value creation for your customers, fans, and supporters. The value, obvious, lies in advising people how to best spend their recreational movie time while increasing their understanding of the abundant symbolism Hollywood manages to crank out. You could do a one-time guide or an ongoing series with several volumes. I'm thinking $5 to $7 per volume consisting of 10 movies and 10 to 25 pages. This, of course, is just one simple idea that could appeal to your audience. No, it's a great idea. It's you know what I mean? The problem with it, man, it is a great idea. It's just, it's one of those things where when you're working on a film and you're trying to gather stuff for the show, it's like at some point, one of those things has to give. If I was going to do that, I'd have to take a couple of days off from the show just to work on that, once a month or something, which I guess wouldn't be that big of a deal, especially if it's going to generate some more revenue, I could make Friday like that, because sometimes we have shows on Friday and sometimes we don't. So, making Friday the day that, of the month or whatever that I work on the book guide thing, that would be good because because that's what hurts us when we're off air is we just, we can't tell people that we need support, we need help. That's what's been hurting us the past week, when you don't have that lifeline, you don't have the ability. That's why I kind of did that rant where I was just kind of going off and I was pissed off, and I apologize if I made anybody mad on that little rant. But man, I mean, you understand where I was coming from, dude. The sky is crumbling down, and I'm looking over here. It drives you mad when you look and see how many listeners there are and how many subscribers there are to my YouTube channel. Over 900. 500,000 or something, 600,000 total video views, over 700 likes on Facebook, 300 something people register for the chat room, and like fucking 10 ever show up and talk. It's just it just blows me away. So there is an oddity in there, and it's always I've always seen this. It was always an oddity in the whole time I've been doing this, no matter what network I've been on. It's always, the listenership is never equivalent to how much support you get. And independent media is exactly that. It's independent. It's not owned by a corporate conglomerate. I'm not owned by a corporate conglomerate. I'm not connected to anybody. I'm just me. I do this out of my freaking bedroom. He says, this is, of course, just one simple idea that could appeal to your audience. I'm sure you can come up with other ideas, but your brain's content's better than I do. The small guides, manuals, or whatever else will surely boost your monthly operating revenue. On my Mac, it gave me this free upgrade program or something a while back when I did an upgrade or an update to the OS software. And it was like iBooks Creator or something like that. And it looked pretty awesome. I mean, it was like you could create an iBook, I guess something you would have in like a Kindle reader or something like that. I don't know. But it was like pictures, big high def pictures in it, text. I think even video you could put in there. But I've got that and I haven't used it. And from what I was looking at, Matt, that looks like, since I've already got them, it looks like it would be a home run. I mean, because it looks pro, dude. I mean, it looks really professional. It looks like a digital magazine, really. Because you can put big high def. And speaking of that, doing the magazine thing like that's a great idea for generating revenue, Matt. He says, I hope this might help, and perhaps consider other bits of your ideas you could sell for a few dollars at a time. It might take a bit of work, but once it's all done, it will be a nice passive income from that point forward. Well, thank you, Matt. Those are really, really good ideas, and kind of that mesh with another thing that I've been wanting to do for a while. I've been trying to get this going for a while. I guess I just I have to mention all this crap about support our work and all this stuff. So sometimes I forget to tell you things that I'm working towards. The other thing we have there at the website, we have an Amazon wish list, and I just go there and put stuff that we could use for films, new cameras, burners, tower burners that burn Blu-rays and DVDs, so I can start manufacturing all this stuff myself, and I don't have to pay anybody to do it, and cut the cost down to really cheap and get out my DVDs at an even cheaper cost, which means, in the long run, I mean, if you have to buy a machine that's $1,000, you think about that in the long run, you're not going to have to pay all this money to go have, DVD. I can I can get cases and print. If I've got people who do design stuff, so I can get the artwork done. All I got to do is I can print that out of my own thing and make my own here and manufacture my own and sell them. And do a little fucking 10 Blu-rays at a time, 10 DVDs at a time. I can sit there and I can sit right here and crank them out and not debate. So I have stuff like that on there and various other things for, musical items for soundtracks for making films. I mean, I do everything. A one-man show. I have no crew, cast and crew or cronies or anything else. And one of the things I've had on the list for a while is this really nice digital SLR camera. And there's also a separate lens that I have on there. And the reason I have that on there is because 3 or 4 months ago, I finally got, after years and years and years of trying to get one, I finally got a press pass. And it's a fully accredited press pass with a photography agency that's got an 800 number on the back that they can verify my credentials and all this stuff. And I wore it when I went on my trip, and it really did help. I mean, doors did open for me when I had the thing on, but this company that provides the press pass, it's like $50 and it's good for a long time. And so I did it, and yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. It's worked really well for me. But my problem is I don't have I don't have a professional camera. I have I have two. My old one that I use as a backup that works sometimes, but doesn't work if it's hot outside. It's got an internal hard drive. It was right before they started making them with the internal flash drives, which my newer one has. And it's great. It works in all conditions. But it was kind of quirky on me on the trip. There's a couple of times that my footage didn't show up. Something was weird there. But it was good. I had the backup. These are just these little small, really small, tiny digital high-def cameras. And they produce a good picture and stuff and decent audio. But nothing like the big pro things do. But point of the matter is this photog company that I got the press pass through will give you assignments and pay you to go out and do photo assignments for them. And since I'm already signed up with them, I got the press pass and everything, it's a hop, skip, and a jump for me to be able to do that. And it's stuff in your area. You can just go there and look and ask what they've got, and they'll tell you, well, this is going on or whatever, this concert's happening or, this event's happening. Go get us these pictures and we'll give you, $50 for each picture or whatever. So kind of in line with what you were talking about, Matt, if I had a camera like that when started doing some of these photo assignments to pick up extra cash, that would probably give me the ability to be able to, also get photos and big high quality photos and things that I could use for this, digital magazine PDF thing that we put out once a month and sell. And it would be able to look totally professional. It would be something that would be separate from the show that people would want, so they could buy. And see, that's what I've been trying to. That's why I'm glad that you brought that up, Matt, because that's exactly what I've been looking for. Exactly what I've been looking for, and that's exactly the kind of thing that's going to keep me from having to resort to charging for archives, which I don't want to have to do. But if I have no other alternative, then that's what I'm going to have to do. You understand what I mean? So that idea, though, Matt, is really cool, because to me that's the kind of thing where, all right, okay, you obviously you're listening. Obviously, there's a bunch of people listening, every 30 days or whatever, every month. And obviously, like what it is. But if you want more tidbits and you want more information, you want to go a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole, and you want some stuff that's not going to be necessarily in the radio show. Some of it may be, some of it may not be. Well, here it is. And, $5 or whatever for a monthly book or something like that. Maybe like an online magazine, like a once-a-month magazine or twice-a-month magazine or something like that I could do. That would be, that'd be fun for me. And like I said, I've got the equipment. If I get a better camera, I just can't roll into, I can't roll into these. I can really start picking up some photography jobs from this press pass company. To go out and shoot stuff for some different assignments and things, but I can't roll in with a little, Sony little HD home video recorder. You know what I mean? You got to, otherwise they're going to fucking point you to the door and laugh you out the door. You got to look like you're there with the big boy. So So anyway, that's why I have that that camera up there on my wish list for that, and it's like $1,200 or something, you know. But I guess, you know, thank you for kind of bringing that up, Matt, because I probably wouldn't have thought to tell people that was kind of a goal of mine. I've been trying to do that for the past 3 or 4 months, and have to no avail, and you know. But I do know it could be a very, it could be a very lucrative thing. I mean, even if it only brings in a couple extra $100 or something, that'd be fantastic, you know. Because then, anything here's my point. Any of this stuff that you do to try to up revenue, the problem with all of it is, you know what? The stream is somebody's fucking with our stream right now. Yeah, I just looked down and saw a message on there that it looked like somebody was fucking with the stream there for a minute. Well, that's interesting. Well, I'm sure the archive will be okay, but yeah, somebody was fucking with a stream right there for a minute. Anyway, my point is, there's a lot of great ideas, you know, to be revenue generators, and I have a lot of them as well. But the problem is when you got to have money to make money, as they say, you know. So all these revenue ideas take in startup money to get going. People go, well, you should sell T-shirts. Well, I don't have. I mean, I've gone and priced that stuff, but, you know, and the more you buy, the cheaper they are. But, you know, you still need at least $500 or $1,000 or something to get in, to get a good amount at a cheap rate. So everything that you know it entails to be able to, you know, put an idea in forward to gain revenue requires initial investment, and we just haven't had it. So don't think that I haven't, you know, taken some of your ideas to heart out there, but like I say, people are always like, "Well, do this and you'll get this much money." Yeah, but I got to have X amount of dollars to get that going with this PDF thing. So I already have the Mac and I have the software and stuff. Like I said, I get if I can get something going with that camera that I want to get, well, then I could have something where, you know, I can go out and not only get these photography assignments, but also go out and go get photographs and things at locations. Because there's, I mean, especially if I'm in Dallas or something, you know, there's always places you can go and get different photographs. But also, the other main thing too is, if you've got a camera like that when you're doing videos, because the cameras that come on the digital video cameras are pretty decent. I mean, I got some pretty good shots with the one I've got. But if you've got a digital SLR with a nice lens and the right filters and stuff, because I was into photography before I was into making films. Okay, and photography is what made me want to get into doing films, because if you already learned all the things about photography, you know, what lenses to use, the shutter speed, how to meter light, all those things. Moving over to moving pictures is really not that big of a it's not that big of a transition, you know. And I didn't know that until I got into photography in my mid-20s, and just decided one day I wanted to get into photography. I always wanted to, and had always been kind of into it when I was a kid, and had some different cameras and stuff, and always seemed to have an eye for it. And I got into it for a little while, and then, you know, times got tough, and I had to pawn my camera, and that was fucking 12 years ago. And never have had the money to get another one and get back into it and get, you know, really serious at the photography thing. But I got some pictures from the Drive-By Truckers show. Man, they were just fantastic. So, you know, it'd be interesting to see what I could do with that. But yeah, I think that's a good idea, Matt, and I'll definitely start working or jotting stuff down and coming up with ideas to work on that. And I appreciate you bouncing that to me, and it triggered me to remember that other thing that I'd already been thinking about could be, you know, an extra revenue generator. So appreciate that. Let's see. Rick says, "Hey Josh, last night you read a news clip that talks about a carbon-14 blast of cosmic rays from space." Yeah, and I was talking about the connection to the Cygnus mystery, the Cygnus alignments with Earth, ancient sites being aligned to Cygnus. I know the Serpent Mountain, Ohio is. And also, on top of that, the I think it's Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. Supposedly, that's why it was built with all these subterranean chambers. They were going there to escape this blast of cosmic rays. Hey, Rick says, you do realize what that does to archaeology, right? Carbon-14 dating measures how much of the isotope that is left, and based on the half-life of the decaying radioactivity of it, they can calculate back to the age of when the organic compound is found near a megalithic site. Right. It's, radioisotopic dating, yeah. Carbon-14 cannot be used to date rock, however. No, but radioisotopic dating can date rock, because they go in and there's a radioactive molecule inside there, and it starts to decay as soon as it's made. And they can go back and trace the rate of that decay until how old the rock is. That's why people have had to go white when they start doing analysis on the rock wall stuff, because their dates are flying all over the place when these things are made, because you've got, this stone over here was probably made 500 million years ago. This stone over here was made 300 million years ago, but they're all mixed together in one big thing that they're saying is natural. Well, if there's a huge input of carbon-14 in 800 AD, that means that every organic artifact has more carbon-14 in it than expected, which has led scientists to underestimate the age of all artifacts because the input from the blast makes them appear younger and more recent than they in fact are. Yeah. See? Oh, Nelly. Yeah. Oh, man. Whew. Yeah, that's big. And it's very interesting because, as I've talked about many times, that's the big thing why so many people have been scared when they've looked at the rock walls. They're just saying it's just, oh, man. And we've thought this for some time. Yeah, definitely more ancient than we've been told, yes. What that means is that things are older than the carbon-14 dates allowed. You know how the gatekeepers always say that Tiwanaku, and the pyramids are only from like the 3000s to the 1000 BC? Yeah, right. And how that isn't old enough to fit in with the older times of Atlantis and Lemuria and so on? Well, there you go. They're off base and can't say carbon-14 anymore to gatekeep. Thought you'd be interested, Rick. Thanks, Rick. I'm very interested in that. Well, yeah, that shuts the door right there. Because, that's been an ongoing feud in the archaeological world for years and years and years, is that there's been, from the Sphinx, of course, Graham Hancock's done a lot of work in that area, from that to Stonehenge to Mohenjo-Daro, on and on and on. There has been ongoing debate about these things being way, way older than we've been told. There's one down in Mexico I can never remember the name of. And there was a lady, they ruined her entire career because she dated this thing at like 500 million years. And they said there's just no way. And she had radioisotope dating and everything. And they said they laughed her out of her profession. Literally. What was her name? Rosemary or something like that? I want to say it was Rosemary something. All right, this is from our friend who doesn't want her name mentioned on air. Let's see here. I'm writing to ask that you please determine how much your time is worth to you and charge for your work. Not how much you are worth. You are, of course, totally worthwhile. Be it radio show, films, etc. I would prefer not to see or hear any ads. But your product, if that's what you decide it is for you to decide as I'm a consumer and will decide if the ads I have to endure are worth the value I place on my time. If you're interested in hearing more about this listener's opinion, read on. Please know I think you're funny, smart, interesting, and have a compelling point of view, and your work is worthy of payment. I am, however, going to be frank and do not have the luxury of time or to wordsmith what I'm going to say. My intent is just to share my perspective as a listener. Maybe others feel similarly, maybe not. Today, while I was driving to work, I started listening to your show. I noticed almost immediately that I felt a desire to listen to something else and realized I was anticipating the inevitable request for donations, preparing to sift through an hour of what I find reminiscent. You know what? Look, I have no choice, man. I have no outside backing. I have, again, I'm going to tell you like I tell everybody else. When I don't get up here, the nice guy thing is gone. That's why I had to resort to telling people to donate all the time. Because when I don't, and I just try to say, I'm just going to go with the flow and not tell people to support us, we end up so fucked we can't pay the bills, we can't do anything. So the only thing that works is when I tell people and plead with people and tell them that it's code red and we need support. And if that's what I've got to do to keep this thing going, then that's what I'm going to do. And if what I have to do, you see, you're a perfect example, Miss. So it's a female, by the way. You're a perfect example of the problem with all of this. Because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. You know, I don't want to hear you ask for donations. I don't want to hear you say you need support. But I also don't want commercials. And if I don't like those commercials, and I don't find that those commercials are up to my standards, I'm not going to listen to your show anymore. Wow. So you see how much room that leaves me to operate, don't you, ladies and gentlemen? Because she's not alone. There's a lot of people out there that feel the way this lady feels. But where does that put me? That puts me fucked if I do and fucked if I don't. Because, again, she said it plainly right there. You heard her. She doesn't want to have to sit there and listen to me tell people we need support. But she also said she doesn't want there to be commercials and ads because she didn't want to have to sit through that either because that's, not appealing to her. Blah, blah, blah. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't. We've done this format. We've had it this way for almost 3 years now. And the problem is that, there's just been people who said they were going to do things that hadn't done it. Hadn't lived up to their end of the offer. And, that's the thing. And if I start charging for the shows and putting them archives, then people are going to bitch and piss and moan about that. There's no matter what I do, there's going to be people who are not going to like it. So why do I keep even doing this? And I think this is the whole problem of why nothing ever gets solved on this planet. Why all these problems that we seem to always find ourselves in generation after generation keep perpetuating themselves into oblivion. Because this is how we treat each other. I mean, I from the very beginning had the best interests of my listeners in mind, not having commercials and anything else. But when we get to the point that we can no longer survive and go on because people just can't reach into their pockets and donate $1 every month, yes, I'm going to get up here and talk about it. I mean, I'll go sell out if you want me. I'll fuck right off and I'll go sell out tomorrow if you want. I'll go work for the enemy. Makes no difference to me. I can keep on doing this the way I can keep on doing this, or I can fucking quit and I can go fucking work for, Fox News or something and get up there and say, oh, Obama's a nigger. Give me a check. I'm Rush Limbaugh. I can go do that if you want. But I guess I should have read that email before. I didn't figure, it was going to be that kind of, that fucked if I do, fucked if I don't, really. I mean, you heard it right there. Doesn't want to hear me tell people to support us, but doesn't want to sit through commercials either. But doesn't want to donate anything substantial to the cause either. I don't know what to do or say about that. I really don't. But that's a prime. It's a great example of what I've been telling you that we're up against here. And I think that does represent. I mean, obviously, with when you look at the listenership versus the donationship, and you look at those numbers, it's obvious. It's very clear that's the predominant view. So, where do you propose? Let me ask those people who don't want me to ask for donations and don't want me to have commercials and don't want me to have ads on my website. Don't want any of that. And they themselves don't want to provide any financial support. What do you suggest, or how do you suggest that I generate revenue to the show? Because see, I mean, Matt, he had a great. He didn't just come off, pissing, moaning, left, right, this crap. Oh well, damned if you do, damned if you don't. I don't like it this way, and I don't like it that way. I don't like it anyway. At least he offered some positive solution, and I thought was great. And the antithesis of that here is this. So if you don't like any of those things, what is your suggestion? You don't have one. I don't even know how to deal with people like that. What has gotten us to this point? This is why the enemy is going to win. Right here. Point blank. Because we have been so abused in the past by phonies of all sorts, of all kinds, from all walks of life, from televangelists to cult leaders to cult of personality figureheads, leaders of countries, musicians, rock stars, movie stars, etc., etc., etc. Cult of personality. And because a lot of these people have turned out to be phonies and everything else, we have become so traumatized and so reluctant now, we don't even see the real thing anymore when it's standing right in front of us. I'm a real person. This is really who I am. I'm not some fake media figurehead. I'm a real guy. And this is my life, and this is my job, and this is my work, and this is what I do, and there's no paycheck for me at the end of the week for this. But it's as much my job as your job is your job. I don't know. What do you suggest? What do you suggest that I do? But that's the thing. Everybody's just been so traumatized by phonies that and people have said before, if there was such a thing as Jesus and he did return, well, we'd probably never know it because, if somebody walks up and says, I'm Jesus, what do? We shoot them in the head or we put them in a crazy house or whatever else, And everybody wants everything tailored their way to them. And if you don't tailor Because I'll tell you this woman's the same woman that wrote me before and said that I was the poor man's Howard Stern, or I was some low rent Howard Stern or something like that, which, is kind of a compliment, but at the same time it's kind of an insult. I'll tell you once, I'll tell you again. If you don't like what I do, you don't like how I do it, going down the road. Don't listen. It blows me away why there are people out there who send me emails and say they can't stand anything I do, but yet they listen to every show and know every detail of it. Are you sadists? Is that what it is? Are you cutters? Do you cut yourself because mommy didn't give you enough love when you were a kid? Is that what it is? So you're sadomasochists? You like to listen to things that you hate, that you just can't stand, that drive you crazy, or to people that you hate their guts, but you have to listen to it every day, obsessed with it to the point you know every detail of every show. I mean, you wouldn't believe, folks, there are some serious psycho people out there, and I'm not just talking about a few, a bunch, and they write me, or they leave comments on YouTube videos. Oh yeah, and they let you know right away they're very mentally unstable because they seem to listen to every show and know every detail, so they can then be informed on how to come up with new ways to make up things about you. But I think that all the operations and the cult of personality figureheads they've had out there through the years has gotten us to the point where when somebody's really on our side, we treat them like we treat everybody else. And that's what, that's really what I feel like here from this lady, And it's, so what everybody wants is they want me to do radio shows 5 days a week. They want me to make films and put them out for free on YouTube. But they never want to have to support the radio show with a donation. They never want to have to support for the budget to make a film. They don't want to have to donate to the operating costs. They don't want to have radio sponsors and have commercials that they have to buy products from, so that, because see, you don't just go out and get a sponsor. I mean, I have people say, well, just get some sponsors then. I don't think you understand. It's not that easy. You can't just go, I'd like to have a sponsor around, please, and they appear out of thin air. I mean, especially when you're talking about a radio show like this and the stuff that I talk about. And then will you have to resort that? Why do you think that all these Patriot radio networks all have the same goddamn sponsors? There's a reason, folks. There's only a handful of people, and most of them are, in the gang anyway. And that's why they all have the same sponsor. So it's, in my realm of what I do, it's a lot more difficult because the few people that would sponsor a show like mine don't want to, because I expose all their buddies and all their friends. I mean, once I put the stuff that I put in Secret Right 2 about the Adnan Khashoggi connection to the miracle product, pyramid scheme thing, and how that connects with GCN and Jones and other hosts over there. Was it Dave Von Kleist and Power Hour? They were the original ones who were selling all those Adnan Khashoggi creams. I mean, hell, there's a whole bunch of shows over there that do it, and people over there. It's all a part of the same network of selling these products, and that's how they maintain their shows and their networks and everything else, is by selling these creams and these snake oils and whatever else they have. And that's the point. That's the point you've put me in here. It's like, okay, we've done this for 3 years. We're not getting what we need in to do the work. Guess I've got to resort to selling advertising and having sponsors. Oh my God, no, fuck you, you're an asshole, fuck you. That's what I got when I made the chat room registered. Fuck you, I'm going to kick your ass, fuck you, because you made me register the chat room. Really? Boo, you're going to have commercials, fuck you, I'm not listening anymore. Well, you didn't donate either. And now notice every time, it's always the people who, don't support us in any meaningful way that are the same ones that are the first ones, the very first ones. I've noticed this at least 20 or 30 times in the chat room. Always the very first ones to say boo, hiss, bitch, and piss and moan about having commercials. And, even when you get a sponsor, what happens then? Well, people don't want to listen to the commercial, so they fast forward through it. So they don't buy any products. We had a sponsor for a month. They didn't get any sales, not one whatsoever. Because if my listeners are not going to donate to keep us going, they sure as fuck are not going to buy your miracle cream or your magic pill or whatever it is. No matter how good it is. Doesn't say anything bad about the products. It just, So that's the predicament we're in. Because even if we resort to selling advertising and stuff like that, our listeners have shown they're not going to support that. So the sponsors are not going to stay around very long. We're going to be back at square one. So what we need here is we need a way where we can do all of this and have all this money to pay for all of this stuff every month come from some magical flowing source that never ends, so that we will never have commercials, never have advertising on the website, never have me tell you to support our work and donate at the website, and just have the shows where I'm talking about information that matters and reading books for you like an automaton with no emotion and no charging towards, work that is my life's work. My God. I mean, you didn't vote for Obama, did you? I'm sorry. I mean, no offense, but that mentality just sounds to me like an Obama supporter. That's the kind of pipe dream yarns he spins that sound great in theory, but they never, you try bringing that to material life. It just didn't happen. Let's have what we need is a way where we can have the $1,500 a month for the network costs plus $5,000 to make a film. All of that, we need to have that every month. We need to have no outside support from sponsors, commercials, ads, and you're not going to ever ask for one donation, ever, anything, nothing at all. It's never going to be there. It's never going to be anything that's in any way, shape, or form going to ask me to help keep this broadcast that I find informative going. That's what you want. That's the only thing that can make you and many other people out there happy. Short of winning the lottery or signing a soul over to the devil or something else that I don't know, knocking off a Baskin Robbins, something. I don't know where you're going to get that endless amount of support. I do know where you get it, but you got to go suck Satan's cock to get that. Yeah, not pretty. Go ask Alex Jones; he'll tell you all about it. I mean, you don't look, folks. You don't get a mansion in Austin that costs $1.5 million in a gated community unless you're sucking on Satan's cock. All right, it just doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. The guy has a live-in maid. He has a servant's quarters. You do realize this, right? He's got a glass-bottom boat, for God's sakes, folks. Come on. Really? Let me tell you something. Motherfuckers who tell the truth don't got glass-bottom boats. People who suck Satan's cock, they sure do. And yeah, that's how you. Yeah, I can go get in buddies with the CMP. I can go convert to the CMP and go full blown Christian right wing patriot. I can go back to the Patriot movement, disavow all my CMP work, and start going down Bullhorn and Bilderberg and Bohemian Grove every year, and I can do 4 or 5 hours of Constitution college. We can get into we can talk about the exciting time of Jubilee, and we can get into the Federal Reserve for 4 or 5 hours. We'll probably segue into a little bit of survival training and tell you what bugs to eat if you're stranded out in the wilderness. Yeah. Well, it's going to be a great show. We're going to get into a little Trilateral Commission talk today, too. We're going to talk extensively about the Rothschilds and how the Jewish supremacy is taking over the world. See, all those things are great revenue generators. See, I that's my problem here. You know, I could have just went along. I had a chance where I could have just went along into that world and been okay with it and probably be pretty big right now, making a lot of money. I chose not to go that way because that's not me. So my penance is that I have to do things the way I have to do them. Again, you know, one or two solutions. Either if you want this show and this network and my work to be the way you want it to be, like that, ma'am, then provide that unlimited amount of income for me, and I can provide you with a show that has no commercials, no asking for donations or anything else. You know, you want to pump $3,000 a month into my operation for me? I could get her done on $3,000 a month. We have $1,500 in operating costs. The rest could go to movies. Yeah, $3,000 a month. Yeah, I can get her done on $3,000 a month. So if you want to go ahead and sign it up, go ahead and put it on PayPal, a monthly thing where it'll come out of your bank account every month. $3,000 a month. That's what it'll cost you. Never have to. Never asking for. I'll never ask for another donation again. We'll never tell you to support anything we do. It'll all be free, and we will get the job done. Everything else. $3,000 a month. That's not a lot of money. That's a pretty good investment, I'd say. That's how much it would cost you. How about that? You know, everybody's saying, hey, well, you know, like I was saying about last night, it works when we break it up into things, right? Well, there you go. There's a number for you. Constant stream of films, constant stream of radio shows, books, ebooks like Matt brought up, whatever else. $3,000 a month. There you go. You provide me with $3,000 a month, and I will provide you with radio show after radio show and film after film with no commercials and no ads, nothing at all, and no asking for donations ever again. There's your price. There it is. $3,000 a month. There you go. Boom. Ching. Pay the man. I'm serious. There it is. But short of that, you know, we're going to have to keep chugging the way we've been chugging. But I am going to be looking at. I am going to be working towards these things like Matt was saying, working on the book. The book idea thing is a great idea. I'm all for that. I'm going to be working towards that, working on that. Thank you for allowing me to use your idea, Matt. That's a great thing. And I'm going to keep on trucking on that. We're going to get into some news for you here tonight. Ancient Egyptian calendar reveals earliest record of demon star. Wow. Ancient Egyptians may have chronicled the flickering of a star known as the demon. Perhaps the earliest known record of a variable star, astronomers suggest. The ancient Egyptians wrote calendars that marked lucky and unlucky days. These predictions were based on astronomical and mythological events thought of as influential for everyday life. The best preserved of these calendars is the Cairo calendar, a papyrus document dating between 1163 and 1271 BC. The entry for each day is prefaced by 3 hieroglyphs that indicate either good or bad luck, with the characters often derived from events of mythology. Astronomers at the University of Helsinki in Finland have previously discovered that some of the fortunate days recurred in a pattern every 29.6 days. This almost exactly matches the length of the lunar cycle, the time between 2 full moons. New moons may have been associated with bad luck. The scientists also detected another pattern in the calendar, one that occurred every 2.85 days. Now, the researchers suggest this approximately matches regular dimming of Algol, the demon star. Interesting that the ancients would have, had the knowledge of this demon star, right? Which lies approximately 93 light years away in the constellation Perseus as one of the eyes of Medusa's head. Its name comes from the Arabic phrase Ra al-Ghul, which means the demon's head. It's funny that it's got Ra in there, like Amun-Ra. Remember, kids, every time you say amen, you're actually praising a monotheistic sun god from the 12th century BC or whatever the fuck it was. Interesting, though, that's in Arabic as well. Algol is the brightest known example of an eclipsing binary system. The large bright member of the system, Beta Persei A, regularly gets eclipsed by the dimmer Beta Persei B. From our point of view, algal dims by more than a factor of 3 for 10 hours at a time, dwindling easily seen with the naked eye. It seems that the first observation of a variable star was made 3,000 years earlier than was previously thought. Again, push it back, 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 push it back. Keep on pushing it back. Yeah, you better keep on pushing too, motherfucker, when you see what I got coming. Better keep on pushing it back. It seems that with the first observation of variable star system was made 3,000 years earlier than was previously thought, said researcher Lauri Jetsu, an astronomer at the University of Helsinki. The Cairo calendar describes how Wedjat, the Eye of Horus, dun, 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 very, very important in the Illuminati, yes, the Eye of Horus. Who did I see giving an Eye of Horus the other day? Oh, I've got the picture. I saved it. I just saw it randomly on the internet. Oh, Emma Watson or Emma Stone or whatever their name is. The chick from Harry Potter. Harry? Yeah, her. Blimey or Flimey or whatever the fuck her name was. Yeah. And, you see Lady Gaga do it in her videos as well. Solely Illuminati, an Illuminati sign. The illumined ones, the Alumbrados. The Cairo calendar describes how Wedjat, the Eye of Horus, regularly transformed from peaceful to raging with good or bad influences on life. Yeah, the duality. We live in a dualistic three-dimensional plane. You didn't get the memo? Horus was the patron god of kings in ancient Egypt. The eclipse seems to be linked with the lucky days because it represents the pacification of the Eye of Horus. Now, why would you have to pacify the Eye of Horus? And why the fuck is the Eye of Horus connected with the demon star? And if it is connected with the demon star, why the fuck are people like these Harry Potter stars and Lady, I don't know if I'm male or female, Gaga doing it for? They're all fucking, I'm sure they're probably all Church of Satan. Interesting stuff there. Oh, man. You know, I didn't even realize, I had kind of an idea, but I didn't realize that these, quote-unquote, bath salts, I'm just ignorant, or I guess I've just been out of the drug scene for too long. I don't know. You know, I think I'm just old school. When it comes to drugs, and when I was younger and I did a lot of drugs, I mean, I don't know. I just stuck to the classics, you know, pot, LSD, mushrooms, you know, that kind of thing. Mescaline, you know. But, you know, bath salts, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess I did, the crazy thing I ever did, what was this stuff I did that time? Well, I did it a few times, actually, to be honest with you. Well, it used to be legal. You could get it on the internet. It was, dextromethorphan. Yeah, that's what it was. DXM, dextromethorphan. You could get it by the fucking kilo, dude, on the internet, like for like $30. You get a brick of this stuff. And basically what it is the stuff that they put in Robitussin DM, right? But in powdered form, not in the, so you don't have to chug the syrup, you know, which is not good. You can get it in the powder form, you can cap it up, and that shit would make you fucking trip balls, like for real. So yeah, I did that a couple times. Then it's probably about the craziest, you know, out there. Never did GHB or any of that garbage. Ugh. Although I can't say that I was privy to a couple people carping out on that shit. I had a bitch fucking carpet out in my fucking bathtub one time. It was not good. We had to go get a first aid kit and fucking get the salts and bring her back, pump her chest and shit. It was fucked. But they make that shit out of, like, you know, cleaning products and shit. Oh, disgusting. Gross. But I didn't realize that these bath salts that everybody's getting fucked up on now, which they're blaming all this stuff on, it very well could be that, but I think it's also, as I talked about last night, a combination of the reduction of the fluoride in the water by that much of a degree in the story that I reported on at the first of the year in 2011, January 2011. And that article's out there on the internet. But again, gradually reducing the fluoride would have been great. I mean, I'm not saying they should put the fluoride back to what it was. That's not what I'm saying. The point of the matter is, you're missing the point if that's what you think. Because the point of the matter is, anytime you yank that kind of a drug, that powerful of a substance out of people's bodies, we have no precedence for the effects that could cause. And I think that's what we're starting to see here. But anyway, come to find out, these bath salt things, apparently, they're made of a chemical that, to me, it sounds like this shit's coming out of China. And they sell them as bath salts, but it's a chemical, and you do something to this chemical and get fucked up on it. I mean, here's what it says on what I found. It says, Ivory Wave, Purple Wave, Vanilla Sky, and Bliss are all among the many street names of a so-called designer drug known as bath salts, which has sparked thousands of calls to poison control centers across the U.S. over the last year. Citing an imminent threat to public safety, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration made illegal the possession and sale of these chemicals commonly used to make bath salts. The synthetic stimulants mephedrone. Oh, mephedrone? Ooh, that sounds like, that sounds like a dirty, some kind of dirty synthetic garbage. MDPV and methadone, the ban issued in October 2011, is effective for at least a year. During that time, the agency will decide whether a permanent ban is warranted. First of all, what are bath salts? The presumption is that most bath salts are MDPV, although newer prolaverone derivatives are being made by illegal street chemists. Nobody really knows because there's no way to test for these substances. Why are they called bath salts? It's confusing. Is this what we put in our bathtubs, like Epsom salts? No. But by marketing them as bath salts and labeling them not for human consumption, they have been able to avoid them being specifically enumerated as illegal. What do you experience when you take bath salts? Agitation, paranoia, hallucinations, chest pain, suicidality. It's a very scary stimulant that is out there. We get high blood pressure and increased pulse, but there's something more, something different that's causing these other extreme effects. Now, that's interesting that it says that, because what I'm reading from here was written before these current things were breaking out. And it says right here, there's something more, something different that's causing these other extreme effects. So whatever this is, now that's interesting. See, because that tells us that whatever this has been known about for quite some time. There's something, look, man, I've seen some crazy shit. I've seen people do some crazy shit on drugs, especially that stuff that I was talking about earlier, the dextromethorphan stuff. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't suggest doing that stuff. Whew. That stuff was nuts, man. I saw people. I did some nuts stuff on that crap, but I seen people do some ridiculous stuff on that. It makes you go into a form of psychosis where you're asleep. You're essentially like asleep. Your eyes are closed, but you're doing an activity as if you're awake. I saw it a few times. It's nuts. I saw a chick who worked at a pizza place. I saw her for like 2 hours, watched her for like 2 hours, and she was sitting there with her eyes closed, and she, for like 2 hours, like, thought she was at work. And she was sitting there like ringing up customers. She's like, "Okay, sir, you have a large pepperoni, mushroom, and pineapple, and with an order of wings and a Dr. Pepper. Okay, sir, that's going to be $25.32. Is that going to be cash or charge today? All right, I get that. All right, if I get you to sign right here, here you go. All right, let me go back here. Would you like breadsticks with that? Okay, well, here's bread. I'm not even kidding you. And I saw another guy. He worked on tires and stuff, and I saw him. He's over here talking to customers. He's over here. He's like, "Yes, ma'am. We got your radials, your Goodyear radials, on sale this week. We can do your rotation, balance. We can get you outdoor for $300. All 4 tires this week, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Okay, just pull your car around to the bay for me, ma'am, and our technician will get right on it. We have a soda machine over here if you're thirsty. It's kind of hot out there." I mean, literally, he was just, I was blown away by that. And I saw this happen multiple times with multiple different people, but it was always on that dextromethorphan stuff. And I don't know why, I could never explain. And they would have no memory of whatsoever. I saw another guy who was talking on his hand like it was a cell phone. And he was in an empty room. It was literally, there was nobody else there. And it was on New Year's Eve. It was like Y2K. And he was talking on his hand. It was like a hand phone. And he was going, hey, man. Yeah, we're partying over here, man. Yeah. Oh, man, so-and-so's over here, and John's over here, and Bill. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, totally like it's, they in their head were experiencing, these things actually happening and participating in them, but it was all happening in their mind, but it was being outwardly expressed. These were totally in a trance, eyes closed, not even aware that anybody's watching or anything else. Crazy, crazy stuff. And that's what I think that's what this bath salt stuff sounds like to me. It sounds like a more lethal cocktail version of this sort of psychosis effect that you get from dextromethorphan, because dextromethorphan is the same thing as this bath salt stuff, really. I mean, it's all chemical derivatives of the effect that is used in morphine and all these different things. I mean, it's just chemical cocktails. But I think, with the stuff that I've seen from people on DXM, dextromethorphan, that I just described, literally, I'm telling you the truth. That, honest to God, I saw that. I've seen more. But those three I can just remember just really stuck out. Oh, I saw somebody else eating an imaginary bowl of gumbo, too. Sitting in a corner, like, with their hand holding an imaginary bowl and an imaginary spoon, and they were, like, tripping all this stuff, and I walked up, and I was like, hey, man, what you eating? Because he clearly, he had an imaginary spoon in it, and he was just going to town, like shoveling shit in his mouth, but there was no spoon or bowl or anything there. Oh, my God, I hadn't thought about that in so long. Oh, that's been like 12 years. I'm sorry, I had to get cracked up. I was like, oh my God. Oh God, that's too fucking funny. I shit you not, dude. And he's like, hey man, what you eating? He's like, I'm eating gumbo, man. It's really awesome. You want some? I'm like, no, man, I'm good. You're looking like you're tearing it up, Go on and get it. Oh, but my point is, if that stuff, which is, again, it's, it's one of these derivative drugs that's made from chemicals, and just mixed together. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me in the least bit that could cause somebody to, eat flesh or do something like that. My question would be, has somebody figured out that by mixing these specific cocktails together in these bath salts, I think personally they figured out how to get that exact effect. I think this is all being done by design. I think they've done this with intent. I think there's something about that combination of those drugs that makes regular people act like that. And this is some sort of a test for, maybe the use of this stuff as a bioweapon on other countries or something of that nature, or maybe on the American people. Who knows? But absolutely, they've dialed this in. I mean, folks, this stuff is a science. I mean, drugs are a science. I mean, even things like marijuana and stuff. I mean, they know how to cross all different plants now to get the desired effect. For like the medical marijuana dispensaries and stuff for patients. I mean, they actually, they know how to take this plant over here and this breed or variety or strain over here and cross it with this one. And boom, you've got a strain that is good for pain, good for, anxiety. It's good for sleeping. And then you have other ones that are engineered for, for smoking during the day for pain, but not really wanting to be stoned out of your mind and having to go to work a job, but you have cancer. And, because my dad was, still working here. We worked when he had cancer and stuff. Of course, we don't have medical marijuana here, but he had to obtain his, the way everybody else does, I guess they say. But, oh yeah, old Pops was, he was definitely smoking it up, when he had cancer. Did you ever see the South Park where they take out the KFC? God damn it, no KFC! Carmen's all pissed. They replace the KFC with a fucking medical marijuana dispensary. It fucking Stan's dad's trying to figure out how he can get cancer. So he goes and sticks his nuts in the microwave, and he wakes up and his fucking nuts are just swollen out and huge, and he's got testicular cancer. So he goes down to the medical marijuana place and gets some medical marijuana now, and then they start getting bigger, and he can't walk, so he starts bouncing around around town. You remember those bouncy balls that you used to have when you were a kid? I had a Mickey Mouse when I was a kid, and it's like an inflatable ball, and you could sit on it and bounce around on it. Well, he's bouncing around on his nut sack like one of those bouncy ball things, and all his friends see it, and so all the guys in town are bouncing around South Park on their nut sacks with joints hanging out of their mouths. Oh, my God. I don't think I laughed as hard at that as I have anything in my life. It was just a hilarious episode. So, yeah, as far as the whole bath salts thing, and there's more stories here tonight about it. I think this is in combination with the fluoride reduction and an increase in the electromagnetic wave brain entrainment from HAARP and other systems like it throughout the world. I mean, hell, you got to remember, Russia had their own HAARP way before we had one, way before there was HAARP. It's called SURA, S-U-R-A, the SURA ionospheric heating system. It's funny, too, if you look it up on Google Earth, it's directly right across from where HAARP is now, across the water. I mean, in the exact same place. So there's something about that triangulation that produces maximum effect. We're going to take a break, come back, finish up with our news tonight, and hopefully get into a little reading for you here tonight as well. TheGlobalReality.com is my website. That's TheGlobalReality.com. And we're going to take a break, come back, and get into more for you here tonight. Stay with us, folks. All right, back here with you on the Global Reality right here. Oh, I forgot to mute it. Hey, when that happens. Right here on the Global Reality Radio Network, I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Thanks for being with us. We're going to be getting into more news in this segment. I'll go till I'm done with it, and we're going to move on to our reading here tonight. Again, theglobalreality.com is our website. And that's also where you support our work at, where the gym and banners and all the good stuff are. So please help us out if you can. If you already have, disregard the things that I say. Most people know that, but, sometimes people who, they want me to make sure I'm clear about that. Yeah, obviously, if you've already, we're not talking to you. We're talking to those that haven't. So bear that in mind. Or those of you who have a regular time and a regular, some people have a regular time of the month, every month they donate or whatever. Not talking to you people either. Just be clear about that. All right. Excuse me. Let's get back into the news here. Louisiana cops bust another face chomper. More evidence for those fearing a zombie epidemic. Again, this is not, that's a misnomer to say. These people don't act like zombies. Zombies are the undead. We're not talking about the undead here. Well, I guess maybe if undead means alive, they're undead, right? But seriously. They're doing this and calling this a zombie apocalypse thing as a meme to cover up the real intent and purpose of what this is. And as I said before, I think this is some kind of bioweapon test. There's some kind of, see what this will do in a small way as a test to see what it would do if you did it in a large way. Like the way FEMA conducted their business on Katrina, Hurricane Katrina, They decided to see what would happen if they just let a whole city implode on itself, as a microcosm for what would happen if a whole country imploded on itself, which we're seeing now with Greece and more countries around the world lining up to go the same route, it seems, maybe even us. Yet another man has been arrested over face eating, and once again, bath salts are reportedly involved. This time, a Louisiana man bit a chunk off his ex-wife's husband's face. Police say Carl Jacquinot bit Todd Credor multiple times, removing flesh the size of a quarter. Credor, who was doing yard work at the time, fired wasp spray to defend himself. Jacquinot then headed to an acquaintance's house, police say, where he held the man at knife point and threatened to kill him. If you don't tell me where your dad's gun is. He stole the gun before being arrested. He had been using bath salt, said one of Credor's friends, but since they didn't contact a field sobriety test, it's just like, you see what I think this is? Because these people kind of look like meth heads to me. In the part of Texas here, East Texas, where a lot of my family stuff's from, meth is real bad. Real bad. And I've seen people, friends, family, I've seen people ate up with that stuff, man. And it is fucking awful. And this guy here in this picture looks like a meth head to me. So I'm wondering if this is like, are they marketing these bath salts as, almost like, an easy to acquire, almost legal version of meth? Makes me wonder. I mean, I don't know. Maybe somebody out there knows and you can confirm that or something, send me an email. But that's what it seems like. It's starting to seem like to me. Because there's no question that the meth epidemic was absolutely sponsored from the top down because, well, I'm not going to tell you how I know this, but I know it because of, it's not a family member, but somebody that was married, family member was married to somebody one time. I'll just leave it at that. But, yeah, I mean, it's, I've seen guys who have come back from being, in the armed forces, Army, Marines, that kind of thing. And these guys will come back, and when they come back, they know how to fucking cook Nazi dope. That's what they call it. They call it Nazi dope because it's made with, it's the original, Colonel Sanders' original fucking recipe Nazi dope, dude. I mean, you know who invented the fucking meth, right? Yeah, the Nazis. And it's funny that a lot of American servicemen, somehow in their training or somehow in their times being enlisted, all figure out how to cook meth. Why is that? Why is that a requirement of our armed services? Because obviously, the government actually has their own pharmaceutical grade speed that they give to troops and stuff to get them amped up to kill and to keep them awake for long periods of time. Oh yeah, it's absolute fact. It's government grade stuff. But that's pretty much proof in the pudding that the meth epidemic was engineered. And I think this bath salt thing is somehow connected to it. All the which ways, it remains to be seen. But yeah, I think absolutely it's connected to it. Oh, this computer's being fucking slow. Browser's hanging up on me. Give me a minute here. Jesus. This thing may be getting ready to die. It's fucking old. This is the one I use for news articles and stuff. Why won't you open? Oh, this is balls. All right, well, my browser's not opening, and unfortunately, that's where all my news is. What the fuck is going on here? Okay, here we go. Warning, unresponsive script, not responding. Why is Firefox such a piece of shit? Well, you know what? Fuck it, I guess. I had a bunch of stuff I really wanted to cover tonight, though. I guess we'll let's say fuck the news tonight, and I'll do a Friday night show tomorrow night, and we'll cover all the stories. There's some important stuff in there I really did want to hit tonight, so it's kind of a bummer that's happening. But I mean, I just don't have time to sit here and wait for this goddamn. I mean, it's all frozen. The whole goddamn computer's frozen. This thing's almost 5 years old. All right, so Chapter 15, the Lost Worlds of Ancient America. Great serpents from Kansas to Scotland. This should be interesting. Something happened on our planet that induced men to raise colossal earthworks in the form of an egg-spitting snake from Western Europe to the Central Plains of North America. Could these massive effigies commemorate a natural catastrophe witnessed by its survivors on 2 continents 3,000 or more years ago? Yes, I believe that. Some Americans might imagine that the middle of Kansas is synonymous with the middle of nowhere. Accounts of a splendid and ancient civilization with a mystical site in the Great Plains state may seem too far-fetched for belief. The first modern Europeans to hear these stories were the Spanish conquistadors who defeated the Aztec Empire during the early 16th century. The story of the 7 cities of gold, sometimes collectively referred to as Quivira or Cibola, and many people have called Rockwall Quivira, or Cibola, predated the Spanish conquest by 350 years. It began in 1150 AD, and 7 bishops and their congregations fled Spain by ship, carrying away certain religious relics before the Moors could seize the city of Merida. Although the refugees were never heard from again, rumor had it that they crossed the Atlantic Ocean to land on another continent, where they soon set up 7 cities, one for each bishop, soon growing very rich in gold and precious stones. The legend persisted over the centuries and abruptly swelled to hysterical proportions with the Spanish conquest of Mexico. The legend was reinforced in 1519 when Emperor Montezuma II told Hernan Cortez that the Aztecs, previous to their occupation of Tenochtitlan, dwelled north of the imperial capital at a place called Chico-Mostec, with its translation as the place of the 7 caves. The Spanish concluded that the Aztecs' former residence could have been none other than Cibola's 7 cities of gold. In reality, Chico-Mostec was either Rock Lake in a faraway Wisconsin or a large, if relatively humble, settlement built around a height near the present-day town of San Isidro Culiacan, 60 miles northeast of the Valley of Mexico. In either case, there was no gold to be found in Rock Lake or San Isidro Culiacan. Spurred by inflated traditions of Chico-Mostec and other local tales describing far-off cities overflowing with riches, Viceroy Antonio de Mendoza dispatched an expedition led by Marcos de Niza, a Franciscan monk in search of Cibola and Quivira. After 10 months, de Niza returned to claim he had visited a populous urban center, where its residents ate from dishes of gold and silver, decorated their houses with turquoise, and adorned themselves with enormous pearls, emeralds, and other stunning gems. Sure that the 7 cities of gold were to be had for the taking, de Mendoza ordered a large military contingent to conquer the famous Cibola and Quivira. The expedition was led by Francisco Vasquez de Coronado, who set out at the head of the Viceroy's well-equipped army from Culiacan on April 22, 1540. After crossing the Rio Grande, he was encouraged by various tribes and Pueblo peoples who knew at least something of Cibola Quivira and urged the foreigners ever northward. perhaps to be rid of the various strangers. Finally, Coronado and his 40 men reached what is now central Kansas, the first modern Europeans to visit that part of North America. The Aztec guides had followed their instructions faithfully in the landscape match descriptions provided by their superiors back in Mexico. But there were no 7 cities of gold, not even their ruins. All that the Spaniards found were scattered, underpopulated villages of dried grass shanties, inhabited by primitive buffalo hunters. Marcos de Niza had lied to Coronado, whose disappointment was keenly felt. I arrived at the province they call Quivira, to which the guides were conducting me, and where they had described to me the house of stone with many stories. And not only are they not of stone, but of straw, but the people in them are as barbarous as all those whom I have ever seen or passed before this. For the next 430 years, Cibola was universally regarded as a baseless myth. But in the 1960s, Waldo R. Weddell of the Smithsonian Institution excavated the first of 5 unusual structures in Rice and McPherson counties in Kansas, referred to, for want of a better name, as a Council of Circles. The ruins belong to a circular earthwork, 60 to 90 feet across and averaging about 3 feet high. They were surrounded by shallow ditches and showed evidence of intense burning, covered over by numerous sandstone boulders. Now, that sounds kind of like the rock wall now, doesn't it? Pits contain the bones of children and adult skulls. The resident Wichita Indians knew nothing of the council circles. The compound symbol of egg and serpent appears in the tribal culture of no Plains Indian nation. Although several tribes in the Southwest, such as the Hopi, practice ophiolateria, or snake idolatry, but after more than a 4-century lapse, stories of Cibola began to circulate again. Nothing more conclusive was obtained until 1982, when archaeologist R. Clark Malum identified a far more dramatic feature nearby. The image of a colossal snake cut into the ground like a reverse cameo known as an intaglio. From its gaping jaws emerged a huge egg. Subsequent tests of the 160-foot-long effigy revealed that it was oriented not only to the 3 Rice County Council circles, but more significantly to the winter and summer solstices. Fires that long ago burned in the pitted mounds were lit when the sun's position was opposite to the tail of the serpent. The Terraglyph's discoverer described a propitious sunrise in words that convey what must have been at least an approximation of the aboriginal experience afforded by the serpent intaglio. The morning of December 21st dawned lambent and clear. A crowd of 35 people gathered in the Higgins Prairie to watch the beginning of the solstice day. As the eastern sky brightened, bringing warmth to the frost-tinged landscape, a blanket of fog formed in the low areas of the headwaters. Moving slowly, it soon spread to the uplands, emerging as a narrow band in the horizon. At that point, the sun appeared, a small, dull red disk rising languorously through the mist. Perhaps in the distant past, this was the time when religious leaders struck the fires in the centers of the council circles, a signal that new time had begun again. Within the space of only a few moments, though, this halcyon scene transformed into a dialectical struggle between natural forces. The sky and the earth are at odds, and God shudders. As the fog intensified, the sun alternately disappeared and reappeared. Finally, after what seemed an interminable period, it broke free from the constricting mist and once more dominated the landscape. From that point on until June 21st, it would progressively gain in strength. What we witnessed that morning was an event common to native peoples throughout the Western Hemisphere. The manner in which it was experienced, however, differs considerably between ourselves and them. To us, the rising of the sun on December 21st constitutes a little more than a calendar notion. For native peoples, though, it represents an event of monumentous social and religious significance. It is the recreation, the regeneration of the life cycle, a point in time when humans attempt through ritual means to call back the sun from its southwestern house. Practically foreign to us, this human involvement in the recreation of the universe essentially functions as a world renewal ceremony. Very pagan. These solar alignments suggest that the lost Cibola does indeed lie below the plains of Kansas. The gold of which the Aztecs spoke, however, may not have anything to do with the metallic wealth sought for by the Spaniards. Rather, the gold of this vanished capital was far more precious. It was sunlight. This interpretation is underscored by the Aztec description of the 7 cities of gold. 7 separate and distinct cities, urban population centers, certainly never existed in pre-Columbian Kansas. Far beyond the plain sight, snake egg imagery was indicative of healing, regeneration, and rebirth. Attributes connected with the sun and made all the more cogent in the case of the Kansas serpent by the abundance of natural springs in its immediate vicinity. In such disparate places as classical Greece, Pharaonic Egypt, and Maya Yucatan, the snake egg theme was emblematic of Asclepius, the divine founder of medicine, Kenep, the demiurge of the universe, entwined about the staff of Tuat, the god of healing, and emblazoned on the facade of Uxmal's so-called nunnery. 7 should be understood as a sacred numeral defining the esoteric principle of Cibola. In Mesoamerican cosmology, number 7 signified the completion of cycles. It was associated with the movement of the sun and an earmark of serpent symbolism. All 3 esoteric characteristics perfectly describe the Rice County intaglio and its solar orientation. As though affirming the metaphysical qualities of that alignment, its relationship with the council circles may extend to the local government, thereby comprising an organic whole. As Malum noticed during aerial reconnaissance of the site, the council circles, demarcated by dark green patches, seem to be located virtually in the center of this hydrologic network. It was as if we were seeing an architectural order. He was inspired enough by the feature to state, "I believe that in this cosmological conviction, the serpent intaglio functioned as a life metaphor. It signified and expressed through its placement and orientation the natural and cyclical processes of death, rebirth, and the regenerative power of life. Inherent in this theme are certain basic Native American concepts. Cross-culturally, the serpent represents primal chaos, disruption, disharmony, and dissolution, and continued renewal through annual shedding of its skin and hibernation. The themes of cyclical order and centrality became visible and visibly evident at least twice each year as hierophanies. During the solstices, the sacredness of the headwaters was defined, reaffirmed, and intensified by the arrangement of cultural symbols. Cosmos emerges from chaos, summer out of winter, and life and death. With Malliam's credible interpretation of the Rice County effigy, the real mystery still remains. Who were the sophisticated astronomer engineers who created the snake effigy and its council circles in the middle of Kansas during prehistory? And why did they choose such a remote part of the world, hundreds of miles from the nearest civilization in Olmec-dominated Mexico, to fashion their solar observatory? The riddle is made all the more curious when we learn that there are only 2 other snake images of this kind in the world. One atop a high hill on the lip of a meteor crater in the Ohio Valley. Oh, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize they built the Serpent Mound in Ohio was on a lip of a meteor crater. Wow. And the other near an idyllic lake in Scotland. Yeah, but then we read earlier in this book, there's also one in Canada as well. Didn't know about the one in Scotland, though. We got some listeners in Scotland. Any of you people in Scotland know about the Serpent Mound in Scotland? If you do, get me some footage, man. That'd be fucking rad. The recurrence of snake egg imagery as far afield as ancient Greece, dynastic Egypt, and the Maya ceremonial city of Uxmal has already been cited. But the only geoglyphs executed in this theme occur in Kansas, Ohio, and Scotland. Similarly, disgorging an egg from its gaping jaws, the Great Serpent Mound is the 1,254-foot-long image of a monstrous snake writhing in 7 humps across a high wooded ridge located near Locust Grove in the Ohio Valley. At 5 feet high and averaging 20 feet wide, the effigy's tail Let me read that again. At 5 feet high and averaging 20 feet wide, the effigy's tail terminates in a large, perfectly engineered spiral. A 40-foot-tall observation tower provided by the local museum allows its bioglyph to be seen in better perspective than circumambulating it via the footpath. Even so, only from an aerial outlook of 200 or 300 feet does the effigy appear in all its perfect proportions. No sufficiently high prominence exists in its immediate vicinity. That's not true. There's actually a lookout tower there. I saw that in the video that Pisces got for us. Why the prehistoric artist would have gone to the immense difficulty of sculpting such a magnificent work of landscape art that they could never see evokes question beyond the blah, 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 blah. Well, I know who built it anyway. I know who built all this stuff. It's all going to be in the film. Its physical construction is better understood. Its builders chose flat river stones for uniform size, combining them with lumps of clay carefully laid out on the ground in a serpentine pattern. Baskets full of soil were then piled over the design and sculpted into shape. Before the close of the 20th century, archaeoastronomers determined that the biomorph's humps had been deliberately oriented to a constellation known as Draco, or the Dragon, in the west. Thus was discovered the first of additional cultural connections between Ohio's Great Serpent Mound and the ancient Old World. More revelations were soon forthcoming. Of especially dramatic interest is the effigy's position within a 4-mile-wide circular area of layered bedrock that was long ago shattered into enormous cracks by some incredibly powerful phenomenon that forced some blocks steeply downward and others sharply upward. Now that's interesting. The cause was a massive impact generated by an object approximately 200 feet in diameter and traveling at some 45,000 miles per hour when it struck the Ohio Valley between 5,000 and 4,000 years ago. It's probably some fucking UFO crash is probably what it was. Although no consensus opinion has been reached concerning a precise time frame for this event, its celestial origins are not in doubt. It seems self-evident, however, that the effigy was meant to memorialize this cataclysm, landscaped as it was on the lip of an astrobleam 4 times wider than Arizona's meteor crater. Numerous cultures employed snake imagery to signify cometary or meteoric appearances for thousands of years. A comet's sinuous motion across the sky finds an obvious likeness in the reptile. Such sky symbolism is especially pronounced in the Great Serpent Mound. Well, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why it's aligned to Draco. And maybe he's right. Maybe it is there to memorialize this event that happened. A fucking 200 feet in diameter spaceship from the Draco constellation, the Dragon, probably reptilians, crashed here about 5,000 years ago and left a giant fucking crater. And, they built a ceremonial site, which, by the way, is much, much more. When you hear the information I have about the Serpent Mound in the film, I want you to remember this that we read right here about. I want you to remember this stuff about, this event happening there and it being built to memorialize this event. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the fucking bombshell info I have about the Serpent Mound is going to come home to roost even more on top of that. Wow. That the same natural catastrophe may have been simultaneously witnessed and identically memorialized on the other side of the world seems borne out of the shore of Loch Nell, an afternoon hike from the coastal town of Oban in Scotland. There are 100-foot-long effigy and 3 humps unwinds from a perfect spiral to disgorge an egg-shaped cairn, or ceremonial rock pile, from its gaping mouth. Like its Ohio counterpart, a small circular elevation of large stones, much burned, once existed in its center. But they've been thrown down and scattered by some ignorant visitor under the pervading impression probably that gold was hidden beneath them. The cairn was apparently used as an altar for burnt offerings, judging from the remains of charred nutshells, scorched bones dating to the 3rd millennium BC. The Scottish Serpent Mound is located in the west part of the country, perhaps 5 miles from the Hebridean Sea, at Glenfeochin, near the hamlet of Dalinayan, or the place of birds in Gaelic. I'm sorry if I butchered that Gaelic. Don't murder me out there, my fellow Scots. I'm just a fucking dumb Yank. Pay me no mind. A few hundred feet from Loch Nell, on a low hill within sight of the triple cone of Mount Ben Cruachan, Mount Cruachan, Ben Cruachan. When lies the mighty serpent here, let him knoweth tell, with its head to the land and its huge tail near the shore of fair Loch Nell, sang the 19th century poet George Blackie. Dalanian was an active ceremonial center from early Neolithic times into the late Bronze Age, according to findings preserved at Oban's Archaeological Museum, and renowned throughout Argyllshire for its cultic significance. So too celestial alignments incorporated into Locust Grove Hill figure dated to around 2000 BC. Time frames for both the Loch Nell terraglyph and Ohio's meteor impact. Did members of the same culture on both sides of the Atlantic dedicate shared serpentine imagery to a world-shattering event they both experienced? The Scottish snake effigy does not appear to possess astronomical orientations of any kind, but its strong physical resemblance and shared period with its 2 North American cousins suggest a connection of some kind. Like the Great Serpent Mound's close relationship with the astrobleem, the Dalinayan biomorph implies its surrounding region is still scarred by a prodigious lava flow that anciently swept in great waves of molten rock for miles around. Oban, clearly geologic activity of extreme widespread violence, once blasted much of the Hebridean Sea. Who laid out the Scottish or Kansas geoglyphs is uncertain, but the Mandan Indians at least preserved an oral tradition of who built Ohio's Great Serpent Mound. It was there in the effigy's immediate vicinity that they allegedly originated, and the earthwork was constructed at the behest of an alien race that came up from the south following a terrible deluge commemorated by the Mandan themselves in their Oki-Pa, or bull dance. I mean, that straight up says it right there. Their story, not the writer's story, their story was that. I mean, that's just unbelievable, but it fits in with everything else I found. I got to read that again. The Mandan Indians at least preserved an oral tradition of who built Ohio's Great Serpent Mound. It was there in the effigy's immediate vicinity that they allegedly originated, and the earthwork was constructed at the behest of an alien race that came up from the south, area Rockwall, right? After a terrible deluge commemorated by the Mandan themselves and their Oki-Pa, or bull dance. After some intermarriage with the newcomers, the Mandan were expelled from the region to resettle along the banks of the Missouri River, and the 2 of its tributaries, the Heart and Knife Rivers, in present-day North and South Dakota, where their last pure-blood tribal member died during 1971. Although presently residing in the American Southwest, far from Ohio, the Hopi Indians still preserve a complementary, though more detailed, folk memory of the Great Serpent Mound people. Now, isn't that interesting? I'm going to go back there. I mean, think about that. So this tribe, my God, there's none of them left. Fuck! You believe that? I mean, did you just hear that? He just, blows past that in his writing here like it's no big deal. The last one died in 1971. So up until 1971, we still had at least one person who could tell the oral tradition that his tribe told that it was an alien race that came up from the south of these humans that gave them technology and all this and built the mounds. They're the Aryans, man, the Amorites, the Aryans. It's Nephilim. They tell how Pahana, the great white brother, commanded fleets of large reed boats filled with family members and friends to escape the Great Flood. After landing on the eastern shores of Turtle Island, that is, North America, he led them into the Ohio Valley, where they built the Great Serpent Mound, naming it Tokchi, the Guardian of the East, to commemorate the direction from which they fled the deluge. Today, Hopi Snake Clan members adorn themselves with seashells in memory of their transoceanic origins in the East. No Tokchi-like effigies are known to exist in Europe, but the ancient Greeks, like the Hopi Indians, claimed descent from deluge survivors, remembered as the Ophites. The totem of this ancestral snake people was none other than a snake with an egg emerging from its mouth. Man, right on time with, the stuff I put. Yeah, these, I'll go ahead and tell you, all that stuff that describe. Yeah, those same people built the rock wall, as far as I'm concerned, from all my research. And I've got all this stuff, man. It'll be in the film. But we need help getting that film out. And we have an emergency budget going right now. And we need whatever help we can get in there. I mean, in a big way. And, man, oh, man, oh, man. Whew. It's exciting. It's exciting. I mean, it's going to be a breakthrough, this information. I'm just blown away by this. However, we get to get it out, and we don't need a lot more money, and just what we need is on that chip and banner there. If we can get that in real soon, man, we're going to be on our way, and I'll be able to get this film out at least sometime in July. I mean, may not get it out right where I wanted to get it out, but damn it, within a few weeks, And so I'm going to keep working, and you guys keep doing what you can do to help us out and spreading the word, and we'll keep on trucking it, man. Appreciate everybody out there for tuning in and being with us, and continue to let everybody know about the show. TheGlobalReality.com is my website. That's TheGlobalReality.com. We will be here live for you tomorrow night for the Friday night edition of the show. Please support our work if you can. My name is Josh Reeves. I love each and every one of you, and we'll see you later. You guys have a great one. Take care.